Peace. What's poppin', citizens of the World Wide Web? It's your boy, Mr. 13th, and I'm here bringing you a special edition of the Sit Down. Tonight we got Phes with us. He's one of the participants for the Battle of the Boroughs. Matter of fact, he'll be
What up?
representing he's representing Manhattan by way of Harlem. What's up, Phes? How you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Happy to be here, man.
That's good to hear, man. So,
Word.
for the people that aren't familiar with you as an artist, why don't you give them a little history of how you got into graffiti?
Uh, I started writing. Damn. Yeah, okay. In like '92, when I was like 10 years old,
All
and
right.
my next door neighbor really got me into it. QK. Um, and he was like low life 357 everything, and like I put me on to all of those things and just hip hop culture in general. You know what I mean? And that was really my first intro into it. Even before music. Um, And then at one point we were on 156th Street, and John One was actually one of the first things I started writing. My name is John, so I would put John One up, and then it developed into Fest. Um, I make music as well, so it's MC Manifest. You know what I'm saying? But
Got you.
the graffiti has always kind of been there. It
Got you.
always really started in the schools. It's kind of like sketching and everything like that. So it's always been there, like present.
Tagging
Um,
up on the desk when the teacher turned around.
yeah, but I think it's everything because it's characters too. So like we can't like I look at the cartoons now and I think it was good that we came up with Bugs Bunny and Ninja Turtle. Like that was still hand drawn. So you really needed to make sure that you were nice to draw that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So even with the letters, like your character better be nice too. So even with drawing Ninja Turtles and Darkwing Duck and
yeah.
like the comic books, that kind of helps you to get your skills up.
So you say before you started graph, you was drawing comic books
Yeah, yeah,
characters?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, that kind of helped me already getting into like 3D. I would do a voice box,
yeah,
and with the under the little circle, you have the little shadow underneath, So
yeah.
still the basics, the fundamentals.
I got you.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
inside and outside of graffiti, who you say some of your artistic influences?
Man, I think it's everything, man. I just like to look at art
Yeah,
like from all over the place, and I think I like the reason why I really love graph is because it's just walking down the street with it. Like again
yeah,
when QK really put me on, he would taught me kind of really like a little bit about just when I first was able to read the handwriting, like trying to
yeah,
crack the code, and I would
yeah.
bump into people just looking sideways, and so I think it's everywhere that you could kind of see a influence, whether it's the writing on the wall or if it's a real nice day out. Today was a real nice day, so it was something to appreciate. You don't really have to go to a
Yeah.
museum, and I think that's part of it is like the art you could find on the street. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of
I
walking
think.
around and still showing love to those things, even the ugly things. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
appreciate like the fight on the block.
I feel you. I feel. Now, for
Yeah.
some people who aren't familiar with Harlem, who would you say were some of
hmm
the graph legends when you were coming up?
So I was like very specific uh, east side of Harlem. So going up to Spanish Harlem and everything, like it was 357 crew, it was Ecstasy crew. Uh, I mean, it's crazy that you had YNN, represented in this. That's why I felt honored when I seen STEM because like I learned about that coming up. Your neighborhood
Mm.
next, like it was a rap,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I am okay. I am okay. You know, all of those dudes, man, and then I kind of wait, eventually we started venturing out to 5 Points and everything, and then
yeah,
meeting all of those dudes, and so that was always a big influence for me and all the cats that came out of there. And shout out to Miz and Cortez and all of those writers as well.
yeah,
Um, I mean, like in my neighborhood, I remember like JDM. RD was from my neighborhood. RD is like one of the first,
yeah,
and I mean, the illest thing to me was coming up was JA. You know what I mean? Like JA was the one like that was like nobody's touching JA. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And there was a dude Spawn around here that used to just hit all the garbage trucks
I remember
coming
him.
up, and that was like the first really like moving. Like a lot of trucks are getting hit now, but this dude had all the garbage trucks coming out, and
Yeah,
there was a place we used to play ball, and the trucks would come out of there. So we would see those Spawn pieces coming up a lot, you know.
Yeah.
I said Wild, and obviously my nigga QK, man, B.A, Ped, Festa. These are all dudes like, this is from, I don't know. These are from the 90s.
These are 90s head. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that Spawn had a truck. It had a character with the gun sideways, and it
Yeah,
had
yeah,
bullet holes on the side of it.
yeah, yeah. I
That
mean,
was
oh, and I'm
classic.
I'm just thinking about like we used to just like look for the magazines, like the source used to have a graph page on it.
Yeah.
Graph TV was out, and we were
Mhm.
looking for those Graph TV joints.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's go. Shit. So
Yeah.
as far as graph history goes, a lot of focus is put on the Bronx and some Brooklyn. Do you think that
Mhm.
Harlem gets overlooked a little bit?
Yeah, I think Harlem has a lot to say. I think it's funny because after a certain point, it's all uptown to me. You know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah.
some streets past Dykeman that you don't even know, even if you're in Manhattan or the Bronx anymore. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And even those walls up there are classic walls on like 204 and everything. So, uh, I think it's all uptown that has a lot to say,
Yeah.
and even LES has a lot to have, contributed a lot to the culture. Man, I remember like just even as an MC, um, we had to kind of like all link downtown. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Whether it was for bars, I mean, what West Fourth used to look like, what Broadway used to look like,
Yeah.
and what LES like as a writer, whatever it is. Like, so everyone was just kind of with the shits. Like that street culture was going on there as well. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And anyone, whether they were from Brooklyn or the Bronx or Queens or whatever, would have to pass through Manhattan. You would have to go downtown or uptown to kind of like just link up, man. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
just kind of always had that location. So I think it always brought everybody. People don't want to say Manhattan. You asked me to do the Manhattan piece, and I was like, "Am I gonna write Harlem?" Manhattan's just
Yeah.
a crazy word to write. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Because Manhattan's got its sections, like Lower East Side, Harlem, the
all of that,
Heights.
man. But
Yeah.
and then people always want to be, yo, Brooklyn, but then they're like, yo, Manhattan, like, you be
Yeah.
like, yo, Harlem. They'll say
Yeah.
LES, they'll say Uptown, they'll say Watch Heights, they'll say Dykeman. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? They'll say Sugar Hill. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They'll say Spanish Harlem, whatever. But they'll say Polo Grounds.
Yeah. It's very sectional. Yeah.
But yeah,
Brooklyn
it ain't
dudes,
like,
Brooklyns,
yo,
they scream.
Manhattan. I'm gonna rock a Manhattan shirt.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
fly Manhattan shirt was like there was a Manhattan beer company that had the buildings with the letters.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
fly shit. Like I remember.
Well, you can always throw a
Yeah.
little Harlem up there if you want, represent. So all right, so we back now. Okay, so you was talking you did what? You started doing a Harlem sketch or something?
I started thinking about adding different characters to it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then with the format, I was just thinking, let me just keep it clean. Yeah, sometimes you go into like the whole background and everything, and
Yeah.
it's like give or take. So I started with Harlem, but then I started going down the list. I'm like, if I say Harlem, I gotta say the Heights. If I say Heights, then Dykeman gonna be mad. If I say Dykeman, then what about downtown? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let me
Yeah.
just, just X all of that out, man. You know what I mean? I had something
Yeah.
to show you. Like, hold on.
All right,
I had
dope,
this,
dope.
you know.
Oh yeah, that looks good, man. That's nice. That's paper or that's can oh that's paper. Yeah, that looks nice.
It's on the paper. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Still with the paint markers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
That's
dope.
the one right there. But
Clean,
then I made
clean.
it. Then I flipped it to digital.
I
Yeah.
got you. So
Appreciate
I
it.
mean, if you want to still go in there and draw some characters, Stem's coming with the characters.
Oh, I know, man. I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's crazy. I'm looking forward to seeing what all the artists do, man.
Yeah, it's a pretty good lineup, man. I'm very happy to, be presenting this, man. I'm looking forward to getting everybody's working.
Yeah,
So you
and
said,
Stem will put it in between the letter coming out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Stem is a beast. So you say that you do rap music too. I saw on your Instagram. I saw you in the booth. So
Correct.
when did you first get into the doing music?
So the music came after the graph, you know what I'm saying? But around
Okay,
high school, we started really just freestyling and everything. And then I kind of I played instruments growing up as well.
okay,
So it just continued with me just being creative, just continuing to make music as well. And so I'll make beats, I'll produce. Like when we was in school, like I had a band at one point, you know what I mean? And
okay.
then
You know, it's funny because you try to make money as an artist as well. And sometimes I would do whatever it is, and you know how it is. Sometimes it's funny to maintain doing graffiti. Sometimes it's hard to maintain doing your own solo music. So I would make money DJing. You understand?
Yeah.
If I can, if I'll go boom. Mind you, I'm playing other people's music. You know what I'm saying? But then I hear it and I'm like, oh, I could do something like this. So I try to think about like if I could do a show, something else that would rock. You know what I'm saying? Or something else that would still translate or whatever it is, man. But yeah, I do music as well, man. My studio is half art, half spray cans, and like half MPCs and and drums and keyboards and stuff. you
Yeah,
know?
well, that's the culture, man.
Yeah,
Do
yeah. That's the
music,
mess.
DJ, do graph. I used to
Hmm.
rap back, I hung it up about 10 years ago. I used to do music.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Word.
my brother used to DJ, I did graph. I
Yeah,
still do graph, so that's
yeah,
that's that's hip
yeah,
hop
yeah.
culture. When you grow up in the culture, you dibble and dabble and everything.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like I would be doing it anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I would be drawing anyway. Like the music is in my head anyway.
yeah,
So if you're doing something you love, then it don't matter. It's gonna just keep going.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Now, have you put
yeah.
out any projects or are you working on anything right now?
Yeah, man. I mean, I got some stuff on Spotify and iTunes as well. If you search Fest, it'll come up.
Okay,
Or MC Manifest, it'll come up. But as Fest, I got an album Escape from New York. I got an album Noise, and I actually have two projects coming out this year.
okay,
One with a dude from Colombia and another dude from Brazil. So my family's from Brazil, and so I have a lot of influence with that, with the music as well, and with the graph. You know what I mean? Like they have
yeah,
their own little style of Phes and all of that stuff, man. I'm trying to
yeah.
actually link with some dudes in Rio, maybe by the
Okay.
end of this month.
Have you?
I might go out there. I don't know. It's looking kind of crazy out there.
I was gonna ask you, have you been out there yet?
Yeah, I mean, no. Last time I was there was a few years ago. Yeah,
Okay.
but I've been out there. I painted out there.
Yeah.
We painted the city of God like 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
How
yeah,
how
yeah.
different is it painting out there from New York?
It's all right. They have their own. I forgot the name of the can company. They have their own paint out there also. But yo, you know how it is, man. I think sometimes you go to another country and then you'll see other people that try to teach you about your shit. You know what I mean? Like sometimes a lot of people from other countries will tell you more about hip hop culture and may have studied more than some of the dudes down here, man. Some
Yeah.
of like whether it's graffiti or whether it's a DJ, they'll be like, oh, this is like that artist from this year. Like they read a whole book on it and they really went in a different way.
Yeah.
So I think that graffiti is strong over there. Everything, like you see dudes breakdancing, like still, like on the
Yeah.
street.
Yeah. That's
So
wild.
yeah, it's definitely strong over there, man. Man, I was last year. I was thinking about last year, right before everything locked down in February. I was in Peru, and in Peru, I was blown away by the graph out there, man. The artists were all really dope, man. But not only that, like just the bombing culture was crazy because the cops weren't really like stopping the dudes for bombing.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like, other than when I was like a knucklehead, I wasn't like out there like that, like trying to just day bomb. Like I got a whole family here and everything to maintain. Like it's not like I gotta still make choice make those kind of choices. But in Peru, bro, they're just walking around just like all day long, like day bombing, no problem, this and that. You know what I'm saying? No problem. And the culture out there was just wild, like just like just to see the graph heads out there, but they were all really, really dope, man. And they like you would tell them about an artist, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's dude from this crew," and like they knew all the history. They got the hand styles, the bombs, the fills, everything. They'll tell you about your own shit. So
Yeah.
it's cool to like see what's coming out of the other countries, man.
Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, I got a couple of boys out in Europe, and they definitely big on following the history of the art form whether it's the music or the graph or breakdancing. And it seems like a lot of New
Yeah.
Yorkers have lost touch with that side of it. Some
I
of the
mean,
younger,
I think but at the same time, I gotta love this shit. Like, some of the young dudes is disrespectful, man.
yeah, they're ultra disrespectful. They just going.
And
I know
I don't even,
you've
yeah.
seen them going over murals and all of that lately.
Yo, I mean, but not even that. It's like you going over like sometimes what's gonna stay up. If it's a wall that's been hit before and it gets painted over 10 times, you know you might be wasting your paint on that one spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you don't try to be out on Front Street, but then you see these young dudes just bomb like on the side of a fucking church or a school, or like you're like, all right, man, like you made your point, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and then not with no hand style, with no nothing either. Like it's just like you can tell it's like that old rusto, like sputtering paint, like you know what I'm saying? Like just
Yeah.
type of. But yo, you gotta look. I'm like, but that's part of it too. Yeah, I need that too. You know what I'm saying? Like it
Yeah.
can't just all be nice and clean either, man. You know what I'm saying? And I seen some murals also that could get ragged over. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's a balance to it all. So I love it all, man. I'm not trying to knock anybody. Those young dudes, they're supposed to do that, man. They
yeah.
keep us on our toes, man. I seen shit that's disrespectful. I get mad, and then I catch myself. I'm like, oh, that was me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
I hear you, man. Shit. So the other thing I saw was that you got your M.P.A. It's Masters in Public
Oh,
Administration.
yeah.
All right. So
That's it.
how
No,
was the process
years
of
ago.
obtaining that? How did you go about doing all of that?
I mean, I kind of it was actually guided through art as well, to tell you the truth. I
Okay.
mean, through doing music, through graph, I always try to find different ways to maintain some shit. You know what I'm saying? By being an artist at the same time, by being creative. And so a lot of people like, you can get some regular 9 to 5 job. I would end up and for me that was like teaching. So I was teaching art, but then I started teaching about hip hop culture as well. And I saw that there's actually a whole market now in higher education, bro. At Columbia, they're teaching hip hop education. At Harvard, you know,
Mhm.
um, at Yale, uh, NYU has a hip hop class, a hip hop like film history joint. So people actually have their doctorate,
Yeah.
on on Illmatic. You know what I'm saying? For
Mhm.
example, like you know what I'm saying, and so I was like, this is something that I actually really know, man, and I always kind of like kept close to education because I was working as a teacher and as an educator myself. You understand? And so I didn't want to get a teaching degree, even though I was teaching, and I wanted to think about how I can talk about the business of art. So my M.P.A. was actually focused on social justice and public art, and
Okay.
I was studying like how artists get work in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Now Bloomberg just released a whole $1 billion project called Asphalt Art. That's all about public murals. And what happens with this is a lot of people will get commissioned to do murals, and the people that get commissioned to do murals are the people that have studied, that have a whole master's or a master's in fine arts, and they went through, I don't know, man, they went to Brooklyn and grew a beard, and and now they know how to like do some old street art bullshit, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's funny because I see a lot of other graph artists, people that have real talent, people that have not only have real talent, but like if you're gonna put something in the wall out here, you got to be able to educate somebody like them young kids or whatever it is, man. And like the real roots of the stuff actually happens in memorial, right? Like it's like putting up a RIP for somebody, man. You know what I'm saying? Or it's putting
Yeah.
up fuck the police, and it actually has something to say if you're really, if you're really paying attention to it. So I didn't want that shit to get lost, and I tried to connect my professional life with the creative side of me. And the M.P.A. was that, man. You know what I'm saying? What really kind of like just guided me to being a better educator. But actually, it made me stop. I haven't been working in school since I graduated. Matter of fact, man, because I
Okay.
was like, I'm trying to still work as an artist, but trying to build up my own curriculum and build up my own like basic artist statement with what I do. You know what I mean?
Got you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how do I mean how are you utilizing that degree right now?
So, for example, man, when I told you I went to Peru last year, I was hired through the State Department
Okay.
through a program called Next Level. And I would advise any other artists, aspiring artists, to check out Next Level. Next Level is a federal program, bro, which means the government will hire you to represent one of the elements of hip hop culture. So they'll go through the four basics of MC, DJ, B-boy, graph, right? So I went to Peru representing the graffiti element. I can apply to a federal program because I could say I have my M.P.A from Columbia and I have my music degree from Wesleyan and, you know, all this other shit that obviously is going to help down the way, man. You know what I'm saying? Whether I get that, when I worked with the New York Mural Arts Project, it was with the Department of Health. You know what I'm saying? When I worked with health in hospitals or whatever, it's like sometimes having the degree helps to back up the way that I could talk the talk. And a lot of us have come up with that shit, know a little bit about what like the code switch is. You understand?
Gotcha.
It's being able to speak the language sometimes when you want to be able to validate the value, you know, put the value in your art form. You understand? And
Gotcha.
so I think that art is necessary now, man. I think that art is like a form of therapy for people. If we talk about memorial, like look at the 9/11 memorial. You understand? They have a whole structure. They have a whole new building, and then they have a whole like construction. That thing that looks like a fish or something. I don't, you know what I'm talking about? It looks like fish bones, but they also have the graft there, man. And the reason why you need that shit is because the roots of that shit is in memorial. You understand what I'm talking about? And so nowadays we talking about Corona, all of that stuff. You think they're not gonna do? You think that walls aren't gonna go up for the amount of people? Like I got to put 6 people of myself, and so I'm ready for the weather to get up. Me and my boys are talking. I'm talking with Boza about this shit now. We already talking about this weekend. We're like, yo, it's looking like it's over 40 degrees. Let's go. Because when it's paint season, it ain't just like us to put up our tag. It's because we have to. We got something to say for everybody, man. You know what I'm saying? Like if I put up a face of somebody that died from coronavirus right now, you know how many walls are gonna go up around that? I'm not just talking about uptown, whatever. This is around the world, man. So I don't know, man. I think it's listening to the street, man. It's and not only just listening to the street. When you think about the business side of it, there's definitely going to be opportunities there for artists as well if they could just be able to translate how they channel that energy, basically. You know.
Got you. Now you say point
for
the people who aren't familiar with what painting season is. How busy is painting season for you?
I mean, you know, obviously, like we had a funny winter, man. Sometimes, I mean, no disrespect, man. There's artists that is they're all year round. There's artists that take advantage of the snowstorm. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, man. Sometimes I can't do it. You know what I mean? But so paint season for me is you know when that spring starts hitting, when it's time that those walls start coming out, you get a little bit more sunshine, especially out here in New York. It's right around this time, towards the end of March, that you're gonna see a lot more walls going up once that snow starts melting. So we already plotting and planning, and just scoping out, you know, doing our reconnaissance and everything.
Gotcha.
And gathering the cans, you know.
So
so it's
the
paint
paint
season.
doesn't
It's about
freeze.
that time, man. I think it's paint season right now.
I feel you.
The paint doesn't freeze. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when it's too hot, it's bad also. But not only that, you get a whole carpet tunnels. Like you don't want to be doing this in the cold too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I actually tried to get something. I did something like a month, maybe a little. No, I did something on Christmas Day. my man had a little abandoned joint, and man, my finger was just cold, bro. I was just uncomfortable. It was cool, it was whatever, you know what I'm saying? But but sometimes that shit gets played out. I'm like, you know, you want to switch the finger, now you spraying with the thumb, you know what I mean?
Thumb, you gotta learn how to be ambidextrous with the left and shit. I sometimes the cap starts to stick to your finger, it comes off, gets stuck.
Or I hit the glove and then you pull it off and the cap is stuck to the glove. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get nice, like somebody get 2 hands going, you know?
Yeah, the European dudes, they got the 2-hand action going. So how you feel? You've seen these trains getting smashed?
These whole trains, oh man, I knew you was gonna say, these trains are, that shit got me in my bag, man. I'm telling you, it's like we talking about paint season, man. You know what I'm saying? But not for nothing. You know what I think about the trains, man? It's the same thing that we talking about, man. Like people just got something to say now, and after like quarantine and all of that stuff, man, I just think that the streets have a bigger reaction, man. I think that this summer's gonna be extra hot, first of all, but I also think that like just because of that, the graph writers are out there. I think that this whole quarantine might have birthed a lot of new graph writers. You know what I'm saying? That maybe were sketching in their books at home and said, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like when everything was locked down, that first few weeks, it was rebellious for us, man, to be outside. And so I would go outside with a can just because it felt like that, man. A lot of artists would say, like a lot of writers was like, yo, it's that. You know what I mean? And if you see around New York, that's what it was, man. So I love seeing those whole cars, man. That shit looks crazy to me. It's beautiful, yo.
Yeah, it's definitely beautiful, and it's definitely a throwback to the earlier days of graffiti. I definitely took advantage of the quarantine. Those streets were mad empty. Get over on all those empty gates in the city. I took a good run through
Yeah.
there.
And
But
now,
so, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
no, I was gonna say like I think that just nowadays like you also have a mask on at all times, and just the police aren't they're not looking to pull over everybody in the same way. So it's a different
Yeah,
kind of attention, man. The energy is definitely different out there now. You know.
that's a fact. That's a fact. So, as far as the art goes, what are three goals you would like to accomplish before you finish?
I mean, one goal I would like to accomplish is not finished, man.
I
I
hear
kind
you.
of want to keep going. It's one of the goals, and that sometimes that's a struggle in itself. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes like you got to convince yourself to keep going also. So I think that's what it is anyway, man. It's like just keeping at it. That's the only way for me to think to get better and
Yeah,
to be consistent, you know.
got you.
Um, so I mean, that's one goal for sure is just to kind of keep going. Another goal is to I don't know, get better,
Get
you
better.
know,
Yeah,
and I think a third goal I would say is like longevity, man. You know, like you think about future planning, man. You know, something could get left behind even if you're gone. I think
got you.
would be nice, you know.
Got you.
And I
Leave a
think that's part of
legacy.
why we create anyway. Yeah, it's why that's part of why we create anyway. Is you know, you can't take everything with you, but you could leave some shit behind, and I'd rather leave this shit. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Got you. So I'm gonna go through a quick fire off round. You're gonna answer which one you prefer better. All right. So it's gonna be like
Okay.
Rustos or Montanas.
Okay.
Which ones you like
Oh,
better?
Montana's.
Rustos, Montanas. Pilots or
Montana.
Crink?
I gotta give it to Crank, man. For Pilot's the OG, but I gotta give it to Crank right now.
Bombing or piecing?
Piecing.
Got you.
Piecing.
Got you. Walls or trucks?
Oof. I like walls, man. I like walls because sometimes you don't gotta get on a ladder. Usually trucks is ladders,
Yeah.
ladder and wheels. Fuck that.
I myself am a truck guy. I like it because they go all over the place.
Yo, I think you to do that climb up on the front of this shit and hit the that
Yeah,
front panel.
definitely. That front panel is the best. If it's not the back,
Yeah,
it's the
that's
front.
right,
So,
right.
so being that you're from Harlem, which one, East Side or West Side?
Ooh, damn. It's East Side for me right now. East
East
Side.
Side,
Let's
East
go.
Side. All right, no doubt, no doubt. So, this is where we're going to finish up here. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate you taking the time out to sit down and talk to us about your history, breaking down what your M.P.A is and how you take advantage of that as far as education and teaching other artists and children. Is there any
Yeah, man.
final
Appreciate
shout
you,
outs
man.
you want to give? Any final comments?
I mean, I want to tell everybody to keep doing what they're doing, man. It's been a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for creating this platform. You know what I'm saying? It's been fun to be here, man. So I'm happy to be amongst the other artists as well. So shout out to them, you know. Shout out to
Gotcha.
everybody watching, man. Keep doing what y'all doing, man. Word.
And before we go, let everyone know where they can follow you and check out your artwork or listen to your music.
Yeah, man. Fes, you can catch me at MC Maniphes. That's MCMANIPHES. I'm also launching AOFest.com. We're gonna have some merch out there pretty soon. We're gonna be doing some red, black, and green bandanas.
Okay.
So AOFest.com and at MC Manifest.
That's what it is. All right, man. Thanks for joining us, man. You have yourself a good night.
Right.
And I'll be in touch so we could talk about finishing up this project. Peace, man.
Cool. Sounds good, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Peace,
All
man.
right,
Have a good
so-
one.